Chapter 2. The Story of Weiss Vincent. We see Weiss, Milk, and Lilith walking through a town. This is League Belt Town, the very first town the protagonist arrives at in the game. Suddenly, people start screaming, and Weiss turns around. Apparently, two men are arguing over a game. Weiss comments that the security here is still as bad as ever. Weiss calls out to Milk and asks her who his opponent will be. It has been 3 months since his training began, and since the timing seems right, Milk has assigned him a practical test in this city. Weiss wonders if actual combat just means selling a fight to some random thug. Milk simply smiles eerily, and Weiss immediately feels uneasy. She tells him not to worry, saying she chose the best possible opponent and that he should look forward to it. Lilith cheers him on from behind. Weiss thinks to himself there's no way he can feel at ease. After seeing Milk's grin, even a pack of wolves would feel safer than whatever she has planned. As they walk, a group of men with bandit-like appearances start staring at them. They comment on the two beautiful girls and openly say they want them. They mock Weiss for being so cocky, walking around town with two beauties. Everyone can hear them. Weiss thinks that these guys should be careful. Milk could kill them in an instant. Yet Milk keeps walking nonchalantly, whistling. Weiss continues his inner monologue. League Belt Town is considered the worst town of them all, full of thugs endlessly reproducing to create even more thugs. He thinks that regardless of Milk, who wouldn't even get scratched by them, he has to protect Lilith at all costs. At the same time, Lilith mutters that those guys are incredibly annoying. Weiss is confused by her reaction. Milk, yawning mid-sentence, tells her to ignore them since they're not worth their time. Lilith smiles, acknowledging that she's right. Weiss feels as if Lilith was radiating an insane killing intent toward the thugs. Was that just his imagination? Now, inside the Adventurers Guild. The place is filled with people resting, likely adventurers fresh from quests. The receptionist and others passing by stare at them, almost fearfully, maybe because they've never seen them before. Then we see 3 intimidating men staring straight ahead. They tell Weiss, who is alone for some reason, to step outside with them. He recognizes them immediately. These are the Boudin brothers. They are his opponents. We jump back to before Weiss entered the guild. Milk was briefing him on the Boudin brothers' crimes, robbery, assault, slave trading, and other things not worth mentioning. Weiss is shocked by how horrible they are. Milk explains that they avoided punishment by paying bribes, but the military police who accepted them have already been arrested. All that's left is dealing with the 3 brothers. Since they're extreme criminals, Weiss doesn't need to hold back. She adds that they're perfect opponents for his first real battle. Weiss smiles and says, "Let's head back." Immediately, we see him trying to run away. He's terrified. Honestly, who wouldn't be? Milk stops him and tells him to listen carefully. He has determination, but no real combat experience. Real combat is a path he'll eventually have to walk, so it's better to face it now. If he misses this chance, his first real fight might happen when he's completely alone. In that case, he could die, just like many before him. Experiencing it in a controlled environment is far safer. With a proud smile, Milk says she's with him right now. If things get dangerous, she'll help him herself. She tells him to go into his first battle with confidence. Weiss is deeply moved. He sees her as a reassuring presence. But just a second later, Weiss is alone again, escorted by the 3 brothers. He wonders where Milk went. She isn't watching him at all. She tricked him. She told him to go in with confidence, then disappeared along with Lilith. Weiss remembers that the only reason he agreed to this fight was because Milk was supposed to back him up. Now he's stuck, completely on his own. One brother tells him to walk into an alley. Weiss wonders what he's supposed to do. He can't back down just because he's scared. He has no choice but to brace himself. His goal is to cut off one of their arms. There's no need to kill them, but in a 3 versus 1 fight, there's no guarantee he'll win if he fights fairly. Despite their appearance, the brothers are skilled fighters. Weiss knows this from the game. If he's dragged into the alley, the fight will start no matter what. He needs a plan before they get there. Then he remembers something Milk once told him. "Follow what I taught you. If you do that, you'll be fine." Weiss tries to recall exactly what that was. We now see 2 familiar figures watching from a nearby cafe. It's Milk and Lilith. They've been watching him from afar. Lilith says she can't believe Milk deceived him, calling her cruel. Milk argues that if she hadn't said those things, Weiss wouldn't have been motivated. Training that assumes someone will help isn't real training. Lilith shouldn't worry, though. If things go south, Milk will step in instantly. At least, that's what she says before falling asleep on the table. As Milk dozes off, someone notices them. It's the same thugs from earlier. They surround the table, commenting on Lilith's beauty and how perfect the timing is. They introduce themselves as the band of thieves that runs the town. One of them says they were short on girls for the night and were in a bind. Lilith's face darkens completely with rage, everything except her eyes and hair. Then we see a splash of ketchup. Two of the Boudin brothers suddenly turn around. The bald one screams in agony. Weiss stands still in a sword stance. The others haven't even realized what happened. Weiss finishes his thought. Move first, Weiss. He remembers Milk interrupting his bathroom break to tell him the most important thing in battle is catching the opponent off guard. The first strike that surprises the enemy surpasses any attack. Even a master mage will die if struck before raising a barrier. Even a martial arts master will die if their neck is broken before bracing. In short, move before your opponent does. Weiss swiftly throws his remaining opponents off balance with smooth leg movements before they realize their brother's hand is gone. He kicks one in the face as the other prepares to strike. Weiss unsheathes his sword. I've always put off making decisions. Blood splatters again. Without regaining his balance, Weiss cuts off another hand. I thought tomorrow's me would handle everything, but time won't solve anything. He grabs the man. If the things that need to be done are already decided, he throws him toward the last brother. Then from now on, I'll make decisions in seconds. He declares that he'll change from his lazy former self. Using magic, Weiss makes them explode and rushes toward the final brother. Next, we see everyone lying on the ground except Weiss. He declares the battle a success. If they had entered the alley, all three would have strengthened themselves with mana. If they had been ready together, he would have lost. He won because he moved first. Someone approaches from behind. Full points. Weiss turns around. Milk corrects herself. 70 points. If it were her, she would have cut off an arm inside the guild. That's the proactive approach. Lilith applauds, saying it was expected of Weiss. She gives him 200 points. Weiss is simply relieved they're there. He asks why they disappeared. Milk apologizes. Weiss notices a strange stain on Lilith's clothes and asks if it's blood. She quickly covers it and says it's his imagination. We see a bartender and several female slaves trembling. More than 20 members of the notorious band of thieves arrested, someone says. There were no fatalities, but the bandits were beaten until they couldn't speak. The infamous Boudin brothers were also arrested with Weiss Vincent's cooperation. A woman reads this in the newspaper. She seems to know Weiss from before. Weiss himself has no idea what they mean. After all, he only dealt with the Boudin brothers. End of chapter 2.